My next sentence is going to be a statement that is both extreme and true. The MB&F Legacy Machine Sequential EVO is the most versatile and useful chronograph ever made. And I'm going to show you exactly why in the next few minutes. Hi World Tempest family, I have in my hands the latest big release from MB&F. And when I say big, I mean big. This is Legacy Machine Sequential EVO, and it's the first chronograph from this brand, which is, as you know, synonymous with creativity and iconoclasm. So you know already that this is no ordinary chronograph. There's lots going on here, but my one-line summary of this watch is: this is the only chronograph in the world that can accurately and precisely time a variety of events, independently, simultaneously, sequentially, and cumulatively, and do it better than any other mechanical solution that currently exists. Let's dive right in. There is a lot going on in this watch because the chronograph function is really at the center of the LM Sequential EVO. We have a small but perfectly legible display of the hours and minutes at 6 o'clock, and the by now emblematic suspended balance right at the top here. The rest of the dial is occupied by two chronograph displays, each belonging to a separate chronograph mechanism. The larger counters, these ones, are for chronograph seconds, and there are two 30-minute totalizers for chronograph minutes. You have the expected chronograph pushers on each side for the respective chronograph mechanisms. So for the chronograph on the right side, here's the start, stop, reset. And the left side chronograph, start, stop, and reset. So here's the crown for setting the time and winding the movement, which has 72 hours of power reserve, which is pretty impressive, by the way, for something this complex. What's this last button on the side? This is the key to everything that makes the MB&F LM Sequential EVO so special. MB&F calls this button the Twinverter, which is not a name I'm super crazy about, to be honest, but it is a very descriptive and intuitive name for what it does. This button acts as a binary switch that controls both chronograph mechanisms. Remember, each chronograph mechanism has its own set of start, stop, and reset pushes, but the Twinverter, this one pusher, controls both, and it switches the chronograph between running and stopped modes. So if both chronographs are stopped, as they are now, pressing the Twinverter will start them both simultaneously. If they are both running, pressing the Twinverter will stop them both simultaneously. If one chronograph is running and the other one is stopped, pressing the Twinverter will start the one that's stopped and stop the one that's running. Do you see? If you've ever played the card game Uno, you can think of the Twinverter as a reverse card, or you can think of it as a switch, like a light switch. If the chronograph is on, Twinverter turns it off. If it's off, Twinverter turns it on. That's it. This has never been done before, and I don't really know why, because it sounds so intuitive. The architect behind this movement, Stephen McDonnell, was initially inspired by race timing mechanisms in the past, where you had multiple chronographs linked by a single lever, so you could start all the chronographs at once via the connecting lever. The starting pistol goes off, you press the lever, and you have multiple chronographs launched at the same time. And then they would be individually stopped depending on what time each horse or dog or person or whatever crossed the finish line. You can't do that with any other mechanical chronograph today. You either need multiple watches and then you have slight discrepancies between them because we're not robots and we can't be perfectly in sync even if you have one watch in each hand. There is a similar wristwatch with 2 chronograph mechanisms that looks kind of similar superficially, but again, you have to start them both individually. Let's go through a few ways you can use the LM Sequential EVO. Independent mode. You can start and stop them individually without using the Twinverter at all. Let's say you're making dinner, so the water's boiling, you stick the pasta in the pot. Start 1 chronograph. And you have a nice piece of salmon, delicious. You get the pan hot, you put the salmon in, skin side down. It needs 3 minutes each side. So, second one, there you go. In the meantime, let's say the first chronograph reads 8 minutes, which it doesn't right now, but let's say that it does. So it's time to take the pasta off the heat and drain it and set it on the side. The second chronograph by now says 3 minutes. So stop, restart. You turn the fish and you restart the chronograph for another 3 minutes. Simultaneous mode. This is straightforward. 2 people are having a race. You launch both chronographs simultaneously and precisely with the Twinverter. Race starts. And then you stop them individually when each person crosses the finish line. So this person starts first, so he stops. And then this one. Thanks to the 30-minute chronograph, minute totalizers, you're actually able to accurately take timings up to 30 minutes. Now, sequential mode. This is essential for lap time. Someone's running or driving laps around the track and you want to know how long each lap takes. You start 1 chronograph, and when 1 lap is complete, you hit the Twinverter. The first chronograph stops, the second one instantly starts. You write down the first lap time and then you reset the first chronograph. The second lap is complete. You hit the Twinverter again. The second chronograph stops, the first one starts again. You write down the second lap time, reset the second chronograph, rinse and repeat. Cumulative mode. Honestly, I think this last mode is incredibly versatile. At work, for example, when you're switching between 2 things and you want to know how much time you're spending on each. Let's say you need to clear a bunch of emails and also work on a spreadsheet. It's super exciting stuff, obviously. So you start 1 chronograph when you open up your spreadsheet, you work, and then an email comes in, which you need to kind of deal with immediately. So you hit the Twinverter when you switch over to your email client, which launches the second chronograph dedicated to timing your email tasks. And then when you finish your email, you press send and you turn back again to your spreadsheet, you hit the Twinverter again. So the email timing has stopped and the spreadsheet timer started again. So when you're all done, the first chronograph that you started will tell you how long you spent in total on your spreadsheet, and the second chronograph will tell you how long you spent clearing your inbox. And let me tell you that in my case, it's normally a bit more than 30 minutes, but let's assume that you, unlike me, are super efficient when it comes to stuff like that. If all that sounds super functional and useful, that's perfect, because that was exactly what I was trying to demonstrate to you guys with this watch. I own a couple of chronograph watches. I don't actually use the chronographs for anything. If I need to time something, 9 times out of 10, I just use the timer app on my phone. Even with a smartphone, however, which people tend to cite as the ultimate device for daily needs, you can't time 2 things at once. How the MB&F LM Sequential EVO works in independent mode, simultaneous mode, and cumulative mode, you can't do that even with a smartphone, at least not with the standard iPhone timer. And I haven't even gone into how crazy innovative the movement is. We'll save that for another time. So do leave us a comment below if you have any other questions you'd like to answer about this watch. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more content like this, and see you guys next time.